It is the 21st century, and if you want to see old locomotives from days of old, because why wouldn't you, then you'd consider perhaps finding one at a transport museum maybe. Well, if old trains aren't on your mind throughout your day-to-day life, then it might be surprising to hear that you can still see old steam trains travelling at full speed and often through your own hometown.
In the UK alone, there are hundreds of preservation railways that operate on lines that were once closed and abandoned. But there is also vintage rolling stock that still runs on the main rail network too.
It's safe to say that trains are on my mind probably more than the average person, and I've fallen into a bit of a habit of filming them to make videos like this.
Trains should be easy enough to find. They're not exactly the smallest, quietest or fastest vehicles. However, if you grew up watching Thomas the Tank Engine, you'll know that chasing a train from the road doesn't always result in an equal race.
Today, let me tell you that the 1950s anorak interest of train spotting is alive and well, and show you how to race against steam trains in the modern day.
On a related note, come and see some of the real engines from Thomas in person at the Talyllyn Railway. On the 10th and 11th of May 2025, we are celebrating the 80th anniversary of the railway series, with a special themed weekend. Straight from the books, we've got several friends visiting from Sodor, alongside the model railway made by the author himself. The Awdry Extravaganza 5 is also taking place from the 18th to the 20th of July 2025. Visit the Talyllyn Railway's website for more details, and I'll see you there.
Chasing trains on a heritage railway is a different kettle of steam to seeing the same thing on the main line, but we'll talk about both. Going to volunteer-run steam railways, which operate as a tourist attraction, is like seeing wildlife at the zoo.
The trains are captive within one area, so you know where they'll be. There's plenty of them, but sometimes they'll decide that they don't want to play the game and will hide away. In the case of trains, that means an engine has broken down, or has been stored away somewhere out of sight. When the engine that you wanted to see is up and running, here's a little trick for you to find where they'll be lurking.
Good morning from a very rainy little field in the middle of Sussex. I'm off train spotting today, would you believe? I am reigniting the 1950s schoolchild. Aren't I a nerd? And I'm not very good at train spotting, but I think I've come to the right place. I'm pretty sure they kind of tend to hang around these kind of areas. So I'll let you know how we get on. Success! Train spotted! Yeah. Quick, get the other camera, thank you.
The easiest way of finding a train is to find your nearest transport museum or heritage railway. They will post on their website what days they're open and what time their services are. Mostly they're shut from December, January and February for winter maintenance, and some offer busier calendars than others. Once you've found your nearest train, then the best way to see it is to get on board, have a nice little day out and go for a train ride. I'll tell you why that's the best option shortly, but how about seeing them off the rails? That is, seeing the train from the line side, not the train being derailed. That's not a good thing generally.
Most railways post their timetables with when each service departs each station. So all you have to do is find those two places on a map. Following the line, you'll find roads and footpaths that look like they'll have a good view of the track. It's worth checking on Street View if that's available, as there are many places that would not be suitable. Trees or cuttings obscuring the view, for instance, or noise from road traffic if you're intending to film. Secondly is to see whether this place is accessible. Some paths and fields are on private land, and from experience, angry farmers do not like you. Yeah, they just don't like you. You also have to consider how to get there, either by walking or whether a car can be safely parked nearby, or if you can get off of the train and walk to it. Once you've found a good shot, then you can stay there to watch the trains pass, or you can be daring and race one up the line. One of my all-time favourites is at the Bluebell Railway, which has a brilliant view of Sharpthorne Tunnel to watch the trains bursting out into the sunlight.
Race to the tunnel, attempt 3!
It is just about possible to get off the train at Horsted Keynes and still beat it to the tunnel. But it's not a surefire thing.
The best thing about seeing a train on a heritage line is that if you miss a train or mess up your photo or video, you shouldn't have to wait too long until that same train passes again. That's not quite the same on the main line, where everything happens just a little bit faster.
There aren't many, and some routes are more frequently used than others, but some heritage steam, diesel and electric trains are still permitted to run on the main line. Sites like Rail Advent are the best to use for a list of what excursions are scheduled, but touring companies will only show where their train stops. Real-time trains is a fantastic tool for finding live timings and mapping out precisely where a train is going. These are predominantly day trips, so will only pass by either once or twice in a day. Subsequently, there's less margin to miss the train.
In the UK, most steam haul tours are authorised to go either 60 or 75 miles an hour on the main line, whereas it's 25 miles an hour on a preservation line the majority of the time. This means that you'd better be quick if you want to get the perfect shot. That is, if you can find where to go.
As heritage railways run on routes that were once closed for not making enough revenue, they typically tend to run through quiet countryside and between small towns. The surviving main network, meanwhile, tends to be formed of more core routes, and these are protected by modern fences and barriers. Most times it's easier to go to the station and try and predict what platform the tour will run through. To get a wider view, you can gamble standing on the opposite platform, as I'm sure you've seen in several reels.
Respect northwards.
Always stand back from the platform edge, it's common sense. Mainline rail tours have to be squeezed in amongst regular train pathings, so often this means they get delayed. But it can all be worthwhile to see a long express train whizzing by at speed, as they were built to do. Still, Is it really worth standing out in the cold and rain just to see a train go by? Yes.
Well, for my own channel, I do need footage of steam trains to make my videos, but thankfully I do enjoy seeing these machines at work anyway, so it's not a problem. It does get a bit awkward sometimes when you're out and about and someone asks you why you're even bothering. Most of the time people are understanding, but you do still get the typical comments, people going, "Oh, is it the Flying Scotsman? My granddad drove that one." Or, "Oh, so it's like the Hogwarts Express." All in all, appreciating old transport is an innocent hobby and it causes no harm. For every topic out there, there is also somebody interested in it, so don't be put off by anybody.
Thankfully for my self-esteem, there are heaps of people out there who also continue this very nerdy hobby. And I'll be the first to say that there are photographers and videographers out there who do this to a much more professional standard than I ever will. We haven't even talked about lighting, framing or aperture settings, or whether the loco's going forwards or backwards, or uphill or through tunnels, and all sorts of variables. Often my mini documentary series, Guide Rail, gratefully uses footage filmed by Frontline Steam and 82A Studios. Two channels you should absolutely check out for your daily Steam fix. They are good at what they do. Even so, I talk about such a wide range of topics that I still need to go out and film Steam engines for myself. And I'm okay with that.
It does get expensive travelling up and down the country, visiting new railways. So wherever possible, I do try and coincide it when I have to travel to go somewhere anyway. Here is an example of an itinerary of one of my mega filming trips for this channel.
The Nene Valley Railway is one I'd wanted to visit, and I found a weekend where they were running both Tinkerbell and Thomas, the two engines that I wanted to film there. Whilst in that part of the country, it made sense to tick off a few other places for future videos. In Ellsworth, Cambridgeshire, there is a church where once served one Reverend W. Awdry, author of the Railway series. Further north, in Emneth, another such church with a lovely stained glass window commemorates the connection. This is just outside Wisbech, which is the tramway that served the inspiration for Toby and Mavis. It would be a shame not to see all of this, since they're all so close together. But that's surely all at least a weekend trip away, right? Well, due to personal commitments on Saturday, and the church at Emneth only being able to arrange a visit on Sunday, everything had to happen in one day. So, we drove in the early hours to the Holy Trinity Church in Ellsworth first, paying respect to the Reverend W. Awdry connection. Then I found a nice looking crossing along the Nene Valley, complete with parking and all. What a win. We got there in time to see Tinkerbell sail through. Then we jumped back in the car to race it over to Peterborough.
So we've now made it to the Nene Valley Railway in Peterborough, just outside Peterborough Station, or at least the Nene Valley's one. It's very close to the city centre, which is impressive. Just waiting for the train. We raced it here, filmed it at a crossing earlier on, and then come up here through very slow roads to come and see it, but it appears it's not here yet. The engine being Tinkerbell, a little Danish engine, so yeah, don't know what's happened there, but it's good news for me. Hopefully I can film 2 shots of the train in one. So, yay, win. Hooray for late trains. Here it is now.
St Edmund's Church in Emneth kindly arranged for us to visit by invitation at midday, as they only have services once a month. So off we went to see the Thomas window, and even spoke to someone who had had their marriage ceremony conducted by Wilbert himself. Then we drove along the Wisbech and Upwell tramway route. In Upwell and Outwell, there are some recent memorial statues to the tramway itself. So whilst we couldn't trace the entire line, we've at least seen a glimpse of it. Food, rest, ha! Who needs that? We still have a train to catch. Back we went to the Nene Valley Railway, this time to hop on the train and enjoy the line as a passenger. Before the long drive home. Ah, success.
That was Thomas the Tank Engine. Huh. Seeing the official real Thomas, which was named by Wilbert Awdry himself, visiting 2 of the churches he served in, and seeing the tramway which inspired some of the stories, all in one day, probably the most Thomas-inspired trip I've ever done, and I've been to every Awdry extravaganza. Having said that, there was also a time when we went full Teddy Boston mode and raced against a train at the Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway, which is the inspiration for the Awdry Railway on Sodor.
This is somewhere that I've had a lot of comments asking me to visit, but again it's so far away that we could only afford one day to film everything we needed. After a lovely journey on the line itself, we then sat at the starting line with River Esk.
Right, we're on our starting mark. There is River Esk sitting at the station ready to go. We're in the car. Let's go chase some trains.
Sadly, we didn't have an Austin 1100 Mark 1. The grand plan was to film the train in 5 locations, and see the other 2 engines running as well. Not an easy task on such long and winding roads. You could say we're practicing for our next race with car at the Talisman Railway. First stop was Muncaster Mill, as there's a nice view of the estuary here, and a high chance that the engine would whistle before the halt. After this, the road leaves the railway, so we planned to catch it again at Urton Road, where the 2 trains pass. Well, never overlook a little engine. Those things are nippy, and Rex beat us there.
Okay, so we just stopped at Muncaster Mill, and now we're immediately back in the car and off to go to Beckfoot. I did think we could possibly chance it and film the train at the Green, but I don't know for certain whether we'll beat it in time going between there and Beckfoot. And I really want to film at Beckfoot because that is where the tit for tat illustration is from.
Given that, we skipped out stopping by the Green, and aimed for Beckfoot instead.
That's the train.
The train is over there somewhere, but sadly the train is too speedy for us.
Rex got here before us. I'm not driving that slowly, but then if you look at the roads we're on, like, this is like the widest we've had the road so far. It's extremely narrow. Very countryside-esque.
Half a mile.
Okay, like, you just don't know what's coming around the corner. Giggle Alley, Forestry of England, that said. Okay.
Train versus car, who's going to win?
Honestly, the train
The
is
train?
up one on us, so...
I think trains are the better way forward.
Oh, okay. Cars are pretty good at going backwards, though.
Well, trains can go backwards.
They can. I'm stopping. There's a dog on the road.
Being extremely meta, the Railway series story, Tit for Tat, is inspired by the author's real visit to the railway, where they drove side by side against a train along this muddy lane. It's extremely steep here, so the little engines are working hard to get up the hill.
So this is it.
So that's it. We'll come back here to film later. We could jump out. We're just about ahead of it, but like there's just no time. So let's go straight to the end station, or the penultimate station. We're going to Beckfoot because we have a car up our bumper. So.
As is quite clear to tell from here, this is the road where Tit for Tat was inspired by. I'm sure it was a lot muddier when Awdry visited this, especially in like winter. I can imagine this gets very muddy down this lane, but the track is right next to this road, going up to some cottages further up towards Dalegarth, and there's no fence or anything. Perhaps an inspiration for Steamroller as well, because there's a crossing at the end. And you can easily see why River Ert may have got splashed by the car going up. Hopefully that won't happen today, because if we're not in a car, we're just standing next to the track, so we'll see. There's a van. I think he's driving up here. No, I've just set the camera up. Oh, you... Okay, that's still a nice shot. Yeah, I'm just here to film the van. I'm van spotting. Goodness me. Can the van make it at the 1 in 53? Find out in just a second. Yes. That is a miniature engine working very hard up a hill. Oh, that was magical. So much better than the van. Dalegarth is the last station, and we popped by in time to see the engine running round before heading back to the green to see all the engines.
Look at the pretty mountains. Look at the pretty flowers. I'll have that. And to the other one. Oh wow, that's actually such a professional photo.
Isn't that so nice?
That's nice. Show me about that tree. Nearly there, but like
I did take
your nails look
another
great.
one.
There we go, that's the one, yes. I was like, oh, the tree. No, that's perfect, yeah. Beautiful stuff. You're an expert.
The blue sky.
Yeah. Did you put that there? You're so clever. Right, one more train. Well, that was lucky. One more train. We've just been staying at the green for the last 3 shots, but because you can access the line both before and after the station, there's like loads of places to film. So, and there's parking at the station as well. So, as you can just hear, we're gonna film River Esk one more time, and then make our way. Beautiful. There's Holly up there with the other camera. There she is, you can see. Oh, what a legend. I've got River Esk here, River Mite, and River Ert, and Northern Rock is in the shed. I'll take my Holly any day of the year over them. And that is how you chase a train with a car. Who won, the car or the train?
Definitely the train.
I'd say the train won, to be honest, because we had to change our plans because the train was already there, but we still caught all three of them, so I suppose we at least deserve 1 point.
The Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway is just one pretty example of steam engines doing what they do best. Living right out of a railway series story and chasing the train on the road is great.
To the other side.
But we couldn't have done it without going on the train itself. The railway doesn't publish these stop times at each of the halts. So to work out how long the journey took, we made notes whilst travelling as a passenger. There are sights and sounds that you could only experience from being on board.
Look at my preparation. One camera here. If you look all the way over there, there's my lonesome other camera. Waiting for a train. It's not recording yet, and the difficulty always is when I'm setting up multi-camera views as like a backup. Hitting record on one of those and then running all the way back up here, uphill may I add, in time to film straight down there.
As you might have noticed, I have multiple cameras on tripods set up to film from different places. Partly for variety, and partly for backup. The main is a Canon 250D DSLR. The spare is a Sony Handycam, and the spare is a cheap GoPro knockoff. Failing all of that, there's always the phone too.
Hello. How you doing, camera? Hope you're recording.
Again, to do this properly, a video camera would be much better, and someone who can hold it still, without just relying on the auto settings.
Woo!
A gorilla pod is useful, as it can wrap around fence posts and branches. And of course, different lenses open up the possibilities of how far away you can go. Filming trains from the line side does offer more variety of shots, but it comes at a cost. At no point should you ever film from beyond the designated path. Or trespass near the railway itself, mainline or heritage railway. Do not go beyond the fence or too close at crossings. The photo is never worth it. Also, consider others, so don't park in daft spots like passing places, or get in the way of someone else's shot. For those who are filming, please consider that they probably want the sound quality too, so it's worth staying quiet when a train is approaching. Going lineside is also just a bit more dull, since you have to wait in the open between trains. Really, as I mentioned, the best way to see them is to go for a ride on the train itself, as you're guaranteed to see it. And it's only fair to support the railway as a passenger.
These attractions are led by volunteers who work for the fun of it, and have spent lifetimes dedicated to keeping them running for all to enjoy. There's always themed special events and galas to go to, and no two heritage railways are the same. They of course go to different places, they have different collections, and there's always a different view to see from the carriage window.
At each end of the line, the locomotive will have to uncouple from the train and run around to the other end, which is a great chance to see them up close. When engines are idling about for a while, there's also the chance to talk to the driver and ask if you can look into the cab. Some of these railways have engine sheds that you can walk through, and museums to see more of the collection, which you'll never get in a field with a blink and you'll miss it moment of a train passing. heritageRailwaysMap.co.uk is a great tool for seeing all of the railway related places across the British Isles. So if you've never seen a real fire-breathing locomotive for yourself, go and find one because they're pretty neat.
If you want to learn more about trains, or want to see some of my many adventures chasing them, then check out my Terrier Travels vlog series, or Guide Rail mini documentary series. Linked below is my Patreon, where if you join you can get behind the scenes posts weekly, early access to all of my videos, and join our private Discord server as well. If you've enjoyed seeing how I go out and film my content, then maybe you'll also enjoy this video on how I edit my videos. Or you might not. Watch and find out. Thanks.
A big thank you to the following channel patrons: Alex Goodman, GBH Train, D0280 Falcon, Sean Tempest, Random Thomas Fan, Dark White 73, Andrew Dyack, Reese Lee Walter, Ryan RTS, Ewan Pentland, Steam Power 4472, Jude 72, Firewind 10, Luneacres Photography, Mario Sonic 64, Elias, Soda Fox Art,
and TJOC 9891.